Hello, everyone. My name is Bethany Marston, and I'm the Learning Services Coordinator for the School of Justice Studies. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully, we'll have some more people joining us as we start along here. Our presenter today is Sarah Strempel. She is a tutor in our Health Sciences program at the Ocala campus. So she is going to share lots of different tips for success here at the college. Are most of you starting this January then, right? What programs do we have? In the chat box, go ahead and list what program that you're going to be starting in January. So throughout today's presentation, I will be answering any questions in the chat box. So feel free to ask throughout. This presentation typically takes about 30 minutes, and then we have plenty of time for question and answer afterwards. So be sure to download the two files that are in the box on your screen. One is a checklist that is called a Successful Student Checklist. It's everything we're going to cover today through the PowerPoint in a summarized document. The second one is a badge. And this badge is kind of just a fun game for us. You can collect all the badges as you attend more of the webinars for brand new students. So we're going to have other webinars coming up. One is next week, and you can find those on the calendar. We'll talk more about those at the end of this presentation. So collect all the badges from all of the webinars that are coming up for you guys. So I see Tabitha sent me a message. It did come through privately that she's in Health Information Technician. That's great. HIT. Any other programs out there? I see Betsy, Kariana. Are you two with us? And Betsy said she's in healthcare management. Awesome. Well, welcome to Rasmussen. You've made a great choice. We have some really, really awesome tutors and so many people here at Rasmussen to support you. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. That's what we're here for. Sarah is just an awesome tutor. She's helped so many students already. So you guys are in really great hands with her today. She's going to make sure you're off on the right foot. And Kariana is in criminal justice. That's great. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm going to pass it over now to Sarah to go ahead and get started.
Hello. You'll have to pardon me if I sound a little congested. I've got a slight cold going on just now. But I'm going to grin and bear it. Okay. So let me just start out by going over the agenda for tonight. So we're going to be talking about briefly some strategies for using the online course resources, your digital content and e-textbooks, tips and tools for effective planning. Planning is really, really important, especially when you're in an online environment, which is a lot of it's more on you in this kind of environment rather than having an instructor sort of hovering over you, getting you to do your stuff. The Library and Learning Center, which is where you're going to find most of your resources while you're here as a student, and some tips for late assignments and how to communicate when you're going to be having late work. So that's pretty much the basics of what we'll be touching on tonight. Let's get started with the syllabus. How many of you know what a syllabus is and why a syllabus is important? Feel free to. Renelle says you don't hear anything.
Renelle, it looks like your audio is not set up. Oh, I'll chat that. It looks like she didn't connect it under audio. So go ahead and Sarah, okay. I can reply to her.
All right. So anyway, the syllabus. Who knows what a syllabus is and why it is important to check yours? Yes, it is being recorded. Okay. So, yep, syllabus is there to tell you what's expected from you and what you can expect from your instructor. Very good response, Tabitha. It's important to check this because it is your offline resource for how to contact your instructor and what your expectations are in grading. It's going to a lot of times have your due dates. It'll have different grading brackets. It'll tell you what's your passing grade, what's a non-passing grade, so on and so forth. So it'll also include your textbook, how to access your textbook. So this is all really important information, especially as you're a new student and just getting used to the processes with Rasmussen. Going through that syllabus can give you a lot of useful information. And we do definitely recommend that you download that document for offline use. You never know when you may not have access to the internet. And a lot of times that's when you most need to contact your instructor to tell them, like, hey, I don't have any internet access. I'm not going to be able to submit this assignment and so on. So download that, keep it somewhere where you can access it, store the contact info in your smartphone or your planner if you have one. Those are things that we highly recommend. So the grading scale, as I said, is one thing that you'll find in the syllabus. This is pretty much what you can expect to see in there. For your general education courses like English, some general science, and math classes, 60% is a passing grade. You have those 60% or higher to pass. For any medical courses, which, there's so many of them, it's hard to list, but pathophysiology, I think, would count as a medical course. You need to have a 73% to pass. So it's a little bit of a higher grading scale for the medical courses. Nursing is by far the highest requirement at a 78%. So knowing this information is very important because it is what it's going to give you an idea of what you need to accomplish in order to be successful. So general education courses, it's a little more lenient. Nursing courses, medical courses, a little tougher. So you need to definitely put in that little extra effort to be successful. Any questions on the grading scale or syllabus before we move on? Should we give a second here? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and carry on then. Grade tracking is really a big, important thing, especially as new students, to get used to doing. At least once a week, you want to log in and check your grade book for each class. To get there, you click on the Report tab, choose a report, and then under Categories, select Grades and hit Run. And I believe we would have some screenshots up here pretty soon to help you out with that. If you haven't logged into a course yet, this probably just sounds like gibberish. You want to contact your instructor immediately with any questions or concerns. If you see a grade in your grade book that is missing, or you have a grade that you think is not accurate, contact them as soon as possible to let them know that you think something needs to be revisited. Double check all of your Dropbox submissions. I've had a couple of times in the past where I have submitted an assignment and then logged into my gradebook sometime later and discovered that it never actually got submitted. Whether that was just me or if it was a glitch in the internet remains a mystery, but the fact is I didn't get a grade on those assignments. So double check always. It helps make it a practice to log in like every Monday and just check that everything has been submitted. And also, just as a security method for yourself, save all documents to a secondary source like a thumb drive or a secondary hard drive or an external drive, just in case something happens to your computer. You want to have that as a backup to prove that you have the work done, or maybe it was something you hadn't submitted yet. So always have a backup. Even if you use like Google Documents or anything, you can save it to the cloud through Google. That's always a good option. But it is so important to keep track of your grades regularly because you want to make sure that you are aware of how you're doing, how you're performing. And one of the biggest benefits of keeping up with that is if you are getting lower grades than you would want to see earlier in the class, you can see that, and you can contact your instructor and work with them to figure out where it is that you're losing points and what you can do to improve on the future assignments. So just always want to monitor your grades regularly. Let's move on then to ebooks. Sorry again. Ebooks and digital content. Ebooks may be sort of a new area for a lot of you. A lot of people seem to be, pardon me, a little intimidated by the idea of ebooks. It's actually a really great resource once you get used to it. It's much easier to navigate rather than flipping through pages over and over. You can search for keywords. You can bookmark and save places just like you would want to in a normal book. You can put highlights and notes just like you would in a normal textbook. They're also a lot cheaper, you'll find. So the ebooks that you guys are going to be using are embedded in your course. You can access them from the course pages, and you'll either get it directly through the course or through our source, VitalSource, which is a kind of an ebook platform that you can use to read them. And if you're ever having any kind of issues or difficulties with either of those, any kind of textbook-related problems, the Personal Support Center is there to help. You'll want to check your email for your ebook info, especially as new students. You'll need info for logging in and creating the account for VitalSource. If you're not sure, check under the Confirm My Schedule link, and that should give you some information about your textbooks. So just by show of hands, how many of you guys have ever read an ebook before? Anybody ever have any experience with ebooks? Betsy, I can see that you have typed something, but I'm not sure what it is. It's just showing me some boxes. Okay, are you, is anybody a little nervous about having to work with ebooks, or are you guys feeling like kind of okay about it, excited? Okay, Tabitha, thank you. I personally really like them, and I think it's a lot more portable. You know, you can access them from any computer, a tablet, your cell phone. So, yeah, and then, you know, a lot of people sort of get this hang up of, oh, I don't want to read off of a screen, but when you think about it, you read off a screen every time you go on Facebook. I know plenty of people read articles and things like that on Facebook, and it's really the same thing. So just getting used to it is the biggest challenge, I think. Trying to learn the navigation of the platforms. So yeah, ebooks really are a great resource for you guys, and once you get the hang of it, once you get used to it, I'm sure you'll all like it just as much as I do. And I'm glad to see that we've got some students who've had some experience with ebooks before. So let's go ahead and move on to the embedded content. To find embedded content, click on the current module, lessons, and then assignments. Here's an example. They have a link here to a chapter of an embedded textbook. This would be, as we were talking about earlier, one of your e-texts that's embedded in the course rather than one you read through VitalSource. And so going into the lessons, you'll see that they have the assigned reading listed and the assignment, and you can just click on that link and it'll bring you straight into the textbook. There's some options, if you can see the picture here, to zoom, so you can make the screen bigger or smaller. You can navigate by chapter by clicking on the chapter button. In most cases, these books have an option to download as a PDF so that you can view it offline. That also makes it a lot easier when you're trying to search for specific information. So the embedded textbooks are really nice. They have not as many features as the VitalSource books, but they are definitely just as good. And as Bethany said here, if you have any need of any help, just go ahead and make an appointment with a tutor. We're all very much experienced with using the ebooks, and we can help you navigate VitalSource or navigate through any of your embedded texts. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide here. The Digital Content Hub. The Digital Content Hub has some like videos and frequently asked questions as far as the digital content goes. It's sort of a one-stop shop for how to use and access all the digital content like the e-textbooks and the integrated materials. The biggest thing really is to not let yourself be intimidated by the technology. A lot of you I know are probably new to this technology and online schooling and everything, and it can seem a little overwhelming, but just don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Take it step by step. Just understand that the more you do it and the more practice you get with it, the better and the more familiar you'll be with it and the easier it gets. To go back to my Facebook analogy, if you could take a picture and post it to Facebook, you can use these platforms. It is just as easy. And to access the Digital Content Hub, you can click on the Resources button at the top left of your course screen, as it's pictured in this slide, and then select the bottom link on the Library Resources section. So, actually, this slide doesn't have the picture, does it? Well, if you go into your courses and click on Resources, then you can, you'll find it there. And this link here also, this rasmussen.edu/digital content, that'll take you to it. So does anybody have any questions on this Digital Content Hub?
This link is also listed on that checklist that you guys downloaded. And if anyone had any trouble or wasn't able to download that, at the end I can show you how to get it again.
All right, let's go ahead and move on then to our next slide. Organization. As I mentioned earlier, organization and planning is really, really important as an online student because you are largely responsible for your time management and your scheduling, and you're not going to have an instructor that's asking you, hey, why haven't you turned in this assignment? You know, why are you not doing this thing? So it's really important to get on top of things, stay on top of things, and just plan and organize your time efficiently. Why is planning ahead important? It reduces stress. It increases your chances of success. You know, my recommendation to all students is to take some time at the beginning of the week, you know, maybe on Monday or maybe even over the weekend, you can peek into your next week's courses. And just go through all of the assignments, read what you're going to have to do, read the discussion prompt, read the assignment prompts, just skim through what you're going to be reading in your textbook, what chapters you're going to be responsible for, just to give yourself a general idea of what you need to know and what you need to accomplish that week. So many times I've seen students who wait until Sunday to open up their assignments and look at them, and then realize that it's really a huge project and they're not going to have enough time to do it in one day. And if they had the opportunity or taken the time to look at that assignment beforehand, they could possibly have planned a little better for that and not encountered so much stress trying to get it all done in one day. So planning ahead is just like, it's beneficial to you in so many ways I can't even describe it. And if you need any additional help with planning, organization, you can schedule a time management appointment with a tutor, or you can look at some of these links here, the study schedule help, or some other additional webinars that we have that focus more on organization and planning and time management. But always, every week, sit down, make yourself a plan, figure out what you need to get done, and try and figure out when you're going to do it. I find that setting time goals for myself is very effective when I tell myself, like, okay, I've got to have this done by this day, and I'm going to have this assignment done by this day. it gives me a goal to look forward to. And it's just sort of beneficial and helpful to me to do that. Yes, just organizing and planning is just a really great thing to do for yourself. You can't go wrong. Anybody have any questions here? All right, let's go ahead and move on then. Test preparation. You know, everybody takes tests differently. Everybody feels a little differently about test taking. Sometimes it can feel a little scary, but we do have a lot of resources available that can help you manage test anxiety. We've got some good tips on how to prepare for tests and how to be as successful as you can be. From the Student Success Guide, you can also access our test taking tips page. We have like a bunch of videos that you can go to that'll tell you about, like study strategies, what to focus on, how to read the questions and use the questions to give you like a hint as to the answer. Like sometimes just the wording of the question can give the answer away. So we've got some test prep parts 1 and 2 that are linked in here. And the Student Success Guide has some videos also that can help you out. So I definitely recommend taking some time to skim through that page and take a look at it and see what we've got there for you. Has anybody here had any experience with test anxiety or being afraid or nervous of having a test? Yeah, and it's not anything personal or anything bad. It's just some people stress out about testing, and it doesn't mean you don't know the material or that you're not good at it. Just having some tools to help you sort of relax and prepare and go into the test with as many tools on your belt as you can be really helpful. And we've got some great information on our test prep page that can probably help you out with that. So let's go ahead and move on then to the next slide. Late assignments and communication. And I can tell you personally, I've had a few late assignments in my days, and communicating with the instructors is definitely a must. If you have something going on that's going to prevent you from getting your work done, and these things happen, maybe there's a sickly family member, or maybe your sister has been pregnant and needs help with a baby, as mine did. So anytime that there's a situation happening in your life that can affect your ability to get your work done, just reach out to your instructor and let them know. They're human too, they're understanding, they're here to support you, and if you don't tell them what's going on, they can't help you. You'll find in a lot of cases that they're very supportive and they're willing to work with you on grades when you tell them that you're not going to be able to get it done on time. As we've got here in this slide, once you find yourself falling behind, it is most important to get the current work done first. Don't worry about last week's work until this week's work has been accomplished. You want to get the most points possible for the assignments that are not late yet. Because if you figure you spend all of this week working on last week's assignments, then your next week's assignments are also late and you just keep losing points left and right. But get everything done that's current and then go back and work on the late stuff. You want to always make sure you're completing your discussion posts and your replies. I find it helpful to set alarms on my phone or calendar to let me know, like, hey, it's Tuesday night, you better get that discussion post done. Sometimes I forget what day of the week it is, it happens. So, having some sort of reminder in place to let you know, you need to have these things done can be helpful. Make sure every week that you're going through doing all your discussion posts, your replies, your quizzes, your written assignments, and if for whatever reason you don't get something done, make sure that you stay on top of the current week's stuff before you go on the late work. I've seen it's sort of a trap, and I've seen a lot of students fall into it. Just stay as current as you can, you know. Anybody here have any experience with online schooling or with having maybe some late assignments that they've had to catch up with? I'm not seeing any answers, so we're going to go ahead and move on then. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about here then. Yep, and it's a lot easier to stay on track, but once you've fallen behind, it's really easy for things to spiral out of control. And for you to just consistently, like once you're late one week, you can be late the next week and then late the next week. So it's best as a policy just to nip that right in the bud. Once you've had the first late assignment, just focus on having every other week after that be on time. And then once you have finished and caught up, then you can go back and do the late assignment. And like I said, just communicate with your instructor, let them know what's going on, let them know if you are working on something and just need some extra time, just stay in communication. So let's go ahead and move on then. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Betsy. I appreciate your feedback there. Okay. So the Student Success Guide, which I mentioned briefly earlier, is sort of a new student guide that's aimed on giving you some tips and tricks as an idea of what to expect as a new student. You can see in this little screenshot here, there's some tips on struggling with the learning process, how to encourage yourself. We've got tabs here for getting started, basics of the online courses, the e-textbooks and digital content. I believe there's even an inside scoop from the instructors available to you here. So you can find, some little tutorials here and there. We've got study strategies, writing strategies. There's your test-taking strategies I was talking about earlier. Reading strategies. I know a lot of people have some difficulty with reading comprehension and retaining that kind of information. So we've got some good reading strategies here to get the most out of your textbooks. And there's also the time management guide. So these are all really great resources, especially for new students, but even for our more veteran students. Going through these resources here can be very helpful. And as Bethany said here, reading college textbooks is very different than just reading a regular book, reading a newspaper, or even reading a high school textbook. College level textbooks are a completely different animal. So got some really good stuff in here for you to look at, and I definitely recommend that you take a cruise through this page and just explore it, see what it has to offer. I'm sure you'll find something that can help you. Has anybody ever been on our Student Success Guide before? Okay, very good. And did you find anything in there that was particularly interesting to you or that you thought was extra helpful? Yep, I particularly found that one to be helpful. College writing, even just as I was saying, college textbooks are different. College writing is different than what you may be used to. So yeah, I can't think of a bad word to say about this page. Just everything on it is great and useful. So I really hope that you guys can take some time to explore this page, and I'm sure you'll find something that will be of benefit to you. Thank you for your feedback, Tabitha. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide now. What are success skills and what do they mean to you as a new student? Yes, it does link to the writing guide. That's great. Success skills such as APA, digital content, problem solving, reading comprehension, test taking, test preparation, time management. These are all success skills. And they are important to students because without these, you're going to feel pretty lost. Pardon me. These aren't exactly related to your classes. They're not going to, you're not graded on them, but they'll still have a significant impact on your success as a student. Tutoring support is available in each of these areas, and we have qualified tutors who can assist you on developing these skills. And I just would like everybody here to consider how important they really are to being successful. If you don't understand APA writing, you're gonna find yourself losing points on papers. And like I said, we have guides and we have tutors that can help you with that. Digital content, using the e-textbooks, reading your e-textbooks, if that's something that you're struggling with, it's going to affect your ability to perform in the courses because you're going to be losing out on all the information you need from the textbook. Problem solving and reading comprehension, I think, are pretty self-evident, so are test taking and test prep. Time management is really important because that's how you're going to get everything done in the time frame that you need to. So just the success skills, they may not be something you're graded on, but they really do have an impact on your grades. So very, very important. And we do have, as I mentioned, tutors that are qualified in all of these areas who are free and willing to help you if you find yourself needing it. So just keep that in mind. Any questions here on the success skills? Kiriana says writing papers you'll have to work really hard on. We do have a really great guide for college writing. I believe Bethany has posted a link on how to use the tutoring. So we do have tutors that can help you with college writing. And as we've talked about, we have a college writing guide and an APA guide also, which is sort of a big part of writing here at Rasmussen is getting everything in line with APA requirements. And it's everybody has their area where they are concerned they're going to have to work really hard on, or something that they think will be a struggle. And one thing I really appreciate about Rasmussen is that they have taken so much effort to create resources to help you alleviate your nervousness or your fears on those areas. And so much of it can be found in the guides. So just everybody should just really take a look at these pages because you can find some great stuff there. Let's go ahead and move on. We've got the Success Skills tutoring appointments. A little walkthrough here. When you are logged into any of your classes, you're going to click on the Resources tab, and under the Main section, you'll find a link to tutoring. You can go into Tutor Match from there, or even from the student portal. If you click on Resources, there's a link to tutoring from the student portal. Once you're in Tutor Match, which you can see a little screenshot here of what Tutor Match will look like, you can select Success Skills as your topic and then choose your subject. Time management or APA or any of those things would be considered a subject, and then click Schedule, and it will show you a calendar with all the available appointments, whether it be online or on campus. Depending on where you're at, you may be able to make an appointment in person, or you may have to make one online. So you pick the day and time of your appointment, and once it's been confirmed by the tutor, you'll get a confirmation email and you're good to go. And if you have any problems logging into a tutoring appointment, Personal Support Center is where you go. They can help you out with that too. Has anybody here ever made a tutoring appointment before? Okay, so I'm sure you're really well familiar with that. And there's so many great tutors that are available at Rasmussen, and please just anytime that you are struggling with a concept, or if you really just need some extra focus on writing, or if APA is really getting you down, go ahead and make an appointment. I'm sure somebody can help you out with it. So let's go ahead and move on then. Let's do a knowledge check. Everybody, how would you connect with your instructor? What would be some ways that you could contact your instructor? Okay, so there's a couple basic ways that you would contact your instructor. Yep, there we go. So yeah, course mail is going to be your #1 contact method. Now, instructors do have a window in which they can reply, usually 24 to 48 hours they have to reply. So if you're sending an email on Sunday with asking for help on an assignment, they're probably not going to get back to you in time for the assignment to be turned in on time. So do factor that into your instructor contact. You got to give them time to get back to you, and time, still leave yourself enough time to complete the assignment. So for more immediate needs, you can use the phone to contact them. Your instructor should have office hours or available contact hours listed in their syllabus. Be a little considerate when you're trying to call or text an instructor. Just think about how you would feel if somebody was trying to call you at 11 o'clock at night or something. You know, they may not even answer at that time. Depends on if they're awake. And as Tabitha said, Student Lounge is a great place to also, you can post, there's usually like a general course questions area of the Student Lounge that you can post questions in, and your instructor can respond there. So the forum is great also because if another classmate has had the same question as posted it there, you may find the answer just from going into the forum rather than having to call and email and get all this stuff yourself. So why would you connect with your instructor? You know, what reasons would you have to email or call your instructor? Yep, always should be your first resource when you have questions about an assignment. Only your instructor can tell you what they expect. If you have questions about grading or things like that, your instructor is the one that's going to be able to answer that. You know, you can make an appointment with a tutor, but we don't know what your instructor wants from you any more than you do. We can go on past experience. Due dates, as Betsy has said, due dates is another reason. You can also find the due dates in your course calendar, but you know, say for instance it's a holiday weekend like this one coming up, maybe you want to find out if your instructor is willing to give some extra time so you can spend your time with the family rather than working on school. And in a lot of cases that will happen. Any other reasons we can think of that you would connect with an instructor? Yep, if you're going to be late on an assignment or if there's an emergency, then you definitely want to contact your instructor and let them know what's going on. And you know, it doesn't even necessarily have to be an emergency for you to be late on something. Maybe your kid is sick I can't even imagine having to work on classwork while caring for a sick child. Um, so, anytime that there's something that's come up that you think is going to cause a delay, just let them know what's going on. It's not going to guarantee that they're going to give you full credit on a late assignment, but at least they would be a little understanding and they understand why it's being late. So just, it never hurts. If you're finding yourself in a more dire situation where you have really fallen behind, calling is a great thing to do, or even if you can, try and do like a face-to-face sort of experience where you have like maybe video cameras or Skype or something, because you want to personalize your appeal. And calling someone on the phone or talking with them through a service like this or like Skype is a little more personal and a little more sympathetic than just emailing. So that's one thing to sort of keep in mind. Okay, so how often should you check your grades? Next question. At least once a week. I try to do it usually on Monday after I have turned everything in over the weekend. At the latest, I'll check it on Wednesday. And even the grade may not be posted by Monday, but I can at least check and make sure that everything I have done has been submitted. Some of you may find it helpful to check the grades on Friday. You should usually have a response from your instructor by that time. I just like to make sure everything has been turned in early in the week. So where can you go for help with your digital content and e-textbooks? Yep, Personal Support Center. Pretty much your answer for any kind of technical or help problem. And even to some extent, your instructor can help out with these sorts of things. They themselves have a lot of experience with accessing this content. In a lot of cases, though, if you email your instructor for help with this, they will refer you to the Personal Support Center. And the last thing I want to go over is how do you make a tutoring appointment? And there are two different ways that you can access the tutoring website. So either of those answers would be sufficient. Yep, your resources tab, either in your course or on the student portal. You can use the resources tab to find tutoring. And here we have posted for you in the chat box the link to our tutoring walkthrough, which is a great step-by-step instructional, including pictures that'll show you how to use tutoring, how to make the appointment, and how to log in for the appointment if you're scheduling online. So if you feel like it, maybe copy and paste that link somewhere where you can go back to it. And there's a video. So anyone who's considering making a tutoring appointment, that's an excellent resource to help you sort of get an idea of what to expect and how to use the program. Do we have any other questions to go over before we move on to the questions page? So yeah, any questions at all? Feel free to ask away. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions over here. Pardon me 1 second.
And that's okay. That means Sarah did an awesome job. So thank you so much, Sarah. This is our last slide. So this is the time if you have any other questions, we're happy to answer them or show you anything. I am more than happy to share my screen and walk you through anything. In case you missed the link at the beginning or you were unable to download those files, let me go ahead and just copy the link to our webinar series guide and calendar. We record all of our webinars and you can access the archives here along with the PowerPoint and the checklist. So if you're interested in watching some of the other webinars that we've done in the past, you can watch the archives right there and get a jump start for other weeks. We also are having another webinar next Wednesday, December 28th at 6 o'clock Central Time. So same time, same room next week, next Wednesday. And this one's called Master Your Technology, where we'll spend a lot of time talking about ebooks and different technology you'll use as a student. It's directed for brand new students, so check that one out. On Tuesday, January 3rd, we have Make a Success Plan for School. So this is everything you need to know to get started in your first week of classes. It's at 6 o'clock Central Time in this room. And then we have APA Basics coming up on Wednesday at 6 o'clock, Wednesday, January 4th. So you can access all of those at on our webinar calendar. Let me go ahead and post in the link in case you'd like to register for those. You should have probably received an email about them as well, but here's the link to the calendar in case you'd like to register or enter next Wednesday. You do not have to register to attend. You can just click on the link live and go right into the room. So if you are new to writing or if you haven't used APA in a while, I highly recommend watching that APA webinar that's coming up as well. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes in case you guys have any other questions, but if not, you're free to go. Thank you so much and have a great night, everyone. Good luck. Enjoy your holidays.